Welcome to the latest episode of the Forecast in 5. I'm your host, Seth Katz. Joining us today is Greg Skalaski. Greg serves as Shawmut Design and Construction's Executive Vice President of the West Region. In this capacity, he has responsibility for Shawmut's offices in Los Angeles, Irvine, and Las Vegas. Greg sets the company's strategy for the region to ensure continued growth across all sectors and provides executional excellence and technical expertise to exceed clients' expectations. Prior to assuming his current role in 2018, Greg spent nearly 2 decades working on projects in Los Angeles and rising through the ranks at Shawmut to ultimately become the company's vice president of retail. Welcome, Greg. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Seth.
Great. Well, let's get started with some questions. Shawmut is a national construction manager and general contractor founded in Boston in 1982. What makes Shawmut unique, and how did it evolve to have a major hub in LA with you leading it?
Yeah, great question. So I've been at Shawmut now over 25 years, and it's been just an incredible run. The company's now at $2 billion worth of revenue a year. When I started, we were about 100 million a year, and it's been this great organic growth. And I really think that we have grown through our core values. They've been consistent the whole way. It's core values based on excellence, safety, ownership, people, and we really do go over and above to ensure that our clients have the best experience. We're 100% employee owned, and I think that really makes a huge difference. We take huge ownership in our projects, in the challenges that come up, and I think that the problem solving that comes along with that ownership really shows up differently. And I found my way out to Los Angeles, as you said. I've been working out here for over 20 years, kind of flying in and out. And we had a lot of work out here, but we were kind of hopping in and out. And we hit a critical mass where we needed to have a permanent outpost. So we set up an office here 13 years ago. And then 7 years ago now, we realized that it needed to be more than just an outpost. And we really wanted to get local. We really wanted to try and grow deeper roots here. So I moved out here, we restructured, and I took on the role of EVP of our West region now.
You say more local. Tell me a bit more about what that means.
Yeah, every city has its own cultures. They've got its own values, nuances, and it's really hard to understand when you're in and out, in and out. You can really fully understand it when you're here. And as you mentioned, and as I said, I'd been coming in here, almost 20 years in and out to run work here. Very, very different boots on the ground. You just really learn what the city and the area is built on. And it allows us to connect deeper, right? I'm not rushing to catch a plane. I'm here full time. I'm able to connect with the community. We're able to connect with different organizations that are local. And I'm really happy and proud of some of the organizations that we've connected with, including STEM Advantage, ACE Mentorship, and the Posse Foundation. All three that work around education and getting students engaged and involved, whether it's in the community or in our industry. And it's been really great.
Excellent. What challenges would you say lie ahead for the industry in Southern California?
I think there's quite a bit of challenges. There's really this confluence of factors that's all kind of coming together at once in the industry. So, you start with a workforce shortage. I think Los Angeles and the area has had a challenge with workforce for a while now. It's a busy, growing city, right? And so it's very hard to keep up with the workforce or with the projects. Throw on top of that now that you've got accelerated building over the next 4 years, getting ready for the Olympics. You've got major events like the World Cup, which take some of that away. And then, unfortunately, we're going to have a serious rebuild in both Altadena and Palisades. And, that's just going to really, really strain the workforce even more. So all of that causes costs to rise. Then you've got material costs that have changed. Material costs since the pandemic have gone up as much as 40% in certain areas. So that really hurts business plans for developers that want to build structures and buildings. So you put together rising labor force, rising labor costs, rising construction costs. It becomes a real big challenge. And we need to do our part to keep getting folks involved in the industry, right? We've got to work with high school students. We've got to work with college students to get folks involved and engaged in the AEC community, architecture, engineering, and construction. It's one of those things that really has a payback for everyone.
What would you say for opportunities?
A lot of opportunities, a lot of opportunity. I mean, LA is still a powerhouse in the world. It's still an alpha city. It's got amazing businesses and world events coming up. And I think that, we're going to be on the world stage in a few years. We have such an amazing opportunity, and we have to get ready for it right now. I do think there is a big opportunity to jumpstart the commercial market. So, I think we as a region have struggled with getting folks back into the office for work, which has left a lot of vacant office space. We've got a lot of buildings that are built that I think can be repurposed via adaptive reuse for housing, for residential. And obviously, we have a huge housing shortage here. So I think there's a lot of great minds trying to figure out how to do that in a city like Los Angeles. So I think as that starts going and as we start really gaining traction there, that's going to offer a big opportunity. And then, we still have great things like all the advanced technology manufacturing going on in and around this area. You've still got places like Silicon Beach that are hot, and again, we'll have these massive rebuilds happening shortly. The first permits were just issued in the Palisades just last week for some of these rebuilds. There's an opportunity to rebuild in a more sustainable and resilient way. And I think that's just super exciting for a city that has always been on the cutting edge like LA has.
All good points. And Greg, since we have Anderson MBAs watching, and it's very likely some have backgrounds in construction, design, and engineering, can you touch on why you believe your industry is one that's advantageous to pursue careers in?
Yeah, it is, construction is such a problem-solving industry. Great problem solvers really excel in this business, and there's not one solid recipe for problem solving. And quite frankly, I think you get better projects when you get this diversity of thought out there, different ways of solving those problems. And I think when you get folks with different backgrounds, whether they're MBAs, whether they're civil engineering majors, whether they my first mentor was an English major, which doesn't sound like it computes with construction. And he was a fantastic communicator. He was a fantastic problem solver. And you put the two together, he ran amazing projects for clients. And so I just think that, the more folks that we get in with diverse backgrounds from an educational standpoint, the more diversity of thought you have, and quite frankly, just the better projects you have.
Our students will definitely benefit from hearing that.
Totally.
And Greg, that brings us into today's episode. Thanks so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Seth. I really appreciate it.
And thanks to all our viewers for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of the Forecast in 5.